tuning in Canine Air Dog Talk.
All right. So it is good to be here again in the studio. Got special guest Brody Pritchett. He's been one of my lifelong best friends. How's it going, Brody?
Good. How are you doing today, Micah?
Doing good. Just been training dogs.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
So Brody, he's been helping me out with dog training for just about ever since I started. I know he was about 12. I was 14. We were working dogs. He was breeding dogs and just hunting and all that stuff. So we'll go ahead and let Brody talk a little bit about his history.
So yeah, basically just the backstory of me and dogs. I grew up raising dogs. When I was born, as soon as I was born, my dad gave me a border collie because that's what they were raising at the time, and he kind of grew me up and trained me on that, and when I was about 5-6 years old, he decided to really get back into rabbit hunting. So we bought us a litter of beagles, and we went raising beagles, and I started raising beagles. I fell in love with it, and we did that for a long time, and really fell in love with the craft, really fell in love with the hunting side of things, and just being with the dogs, having something to work with, and just the learning experience that it teaches you every day. So did that for a long time, and got, as I began to get older, we kind of got out of it a little bit, and but yeah, we just always had dogs around, was always messing with dogs, working with dogs, training dogs, and pretty much done it my whole life. So.
Yeah, man. So with the beagles, so you did it for rabbit hunting. Did you do one at a time, or kind of explain to me how y'all did the beagles?
So we would usually train in groups. That's how we did our training.
Yeah.
Different people do it different ways. A lot of people will train beagles single dog at a time, but it always worked for us to do them in groups. We hunted in groups, so why not train them in groups?
Yeah,
that was kind of how we looked at it, and it always worked out for us. So.
Well, we just got in some beagles a few weeks ago. Well, actually last week, and we're actually going to start training them for tracking. So now I have somebody that's experienced with beagles to help me out with this project. So I'm new to the beagle world. I've only worked with one other beagle. Most of our stuff is like bloodhounds and German shepherds. So this is going to be exciting. I know we were training with them earlier, and they were toy driven and just wanted to work. I mean, I'm really pumped about training with them.
Yeah, they really had good drive, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about these three.
Yeah, I'm ready, man.
So, I know you wanted to get into dog breeding, and do you have a dog for that?
Yeah, so right now I'm kind of out of the hunting dog world right now. Not saying I will be forever, but just as of right now I am. But me and my wife, we have a golden doodle at home, and that was kind of our purpose for her, and I love her, but I want to give her something to do, and I want to be able to breed with her.
So is she a puppy, or?
She's 2 right now.
Okay. So she's at the age where she can actually start having litters.
Yeah, she's went through a heat cycle already, and just the way life was at the time, we weren't able to get her bred, but we're at a place in our lives right now where we can deal with it, and we're ready to start doing it.
So you're saying like we're about to start doing it. So who is we're?
So I just always refer to we're as me and my wife Hannah.
Gotcha.
We've been married for a couple of years now, and everything I do business wise, I just kind of automatically include her.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
It'll be me, But
no, I was really just kind of getting like, all right, so he is married. Letting the listeners know a little bit about you. You are married, and you have how many kids now?
I have one son,
with
brand
4
new.
on the way.
Maybe one day, but not right now.
So what's your plans with having kids? You plan on having another 1 or 2?
Oh, man, I love kids, yeah. I'd have as many as my wife would let me, but you know how she is, and you know how that's probably going to go, so
yeah.
maybe 1, 2 or 3, But I love kids, man.
Well, I just had my second one last week, and it's been a blast. Not getting much sleep right now, so that's the only bad thing about having kids.
Yeah.
Losing sleep, but it's awesome.
It's always
So me and
worth
Brody,
it.
we've had a lot of ups and downs over the past few years, like best friends and brothers do. So what's a good way that we get back together, back on top, how we have past few years?
One way that we have gotten back together.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like after our
I don't know.
faults and
You know,
fights and
brothers. You know, that's how brothers are. You know, you're always going to come back to family. You know,
Yeah.
and especially when that whether we're blood family or not. You know, we've just always been family, and our love for each other's always been strong. We've just we've had our issues just like everybody else, and you know, we've grown over the last few years, and both have become men with wives, and you've got, like you said, 2 children. You've had one well before I did, but we did a lot of growing and we did a lot of learning, and you know, I guess we just figured out our quarrels wasn't really worth what we were doing to each other. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It that's how life is, you know.
totally.
You're always you're gonna automatically drift apart from people, but you know, those true friends, those true brothers, you're always gonna come back to, no matter what.
Yep,
And,
I know after marriage, it really does it to it. Like with everybody, Lauren, she was real close to people from high school, and she's never even said pretty much a word to them since we've been married. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just, but now other people that she's been like was best friends with in high school, now they have kids and they understand, hey, it's a total different world
Right,
when you
yeah.
get married. So they're starting to get back together, and of course we never been away from each other long. We've always been doing everything together, hunting, dog training, fishing, just about anything brothers and best friends do. So
we were spending time with each other when we wasn't necessarily being the best of friends. We just always been together, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And, so I mean, that's just life, man.
So Brody, he is a musician and singer, and that's what I do on the side. Sometimes I pick and grin and sing, and so we've been all over. We've been in Nashville singing. And
Yeah.
So tell us some about your experience and
I
stuff
grew up.
with singing.
Yeah, man. Grew up in a family full of singers. Grew up in church singing. My dad's a pastor. My sister's an amazing singer, and
Really good singer.
Pretty much everybody on my dad's side of the family, you know, in some way, shape, or form, sings or tries to. You know, so I guess I was 4 years old the first time I remember standing on a stage singing "Jesus Loves Me" into a microphone. You know, and it's just kind of what I've always done. And you know, after me and you began to become friends, the wonderful musician that you were and still are really
no.
motivated me to I guess put more into that art. And it's just something I've always loved, and not nearly as good as I'd like to be, but you know, I feel like as long as you do it the right way and you do it for love, you know, for love of the art, and you know, to give glory to God through whatever you do, you know,
Yeah,
He's
totally.
gonna bless you in it. So it's just something that I've always loved. I've tried a line of different string instruments, you know, through
Yes,
my
you
years. And, you know,
Have you mastered any of them?
I've mastered 0 of them.
Oh, you're a stinking good drummer. That's for sure.
Well, I not nearly as good as I once was, I feel like, or you know, as good as I'd
And
like
what
to
about
be.
the mandolin?
I love the mandolin.
You're a good chucker.
I'm
that's
just
for sure.
terrible at it, you know. I have a problem with patience, so it's hard
Yeah.
to be good at string instruments when you're not good at patience.
It's funny you say something about patience. So me being a dog trainer, I'm constantly having to deal with people every day. And I thought, I can't teach people how to play music because it's just I don't have patience for
Yeah,
it. But
no,
yet
it's terrible.
I'm training people every day to handle dogs. So I don't know. Well, this has been fun. We're gonna take a quick break right now. We want to thank our sponsors: Gentle Loving Groom, Mr. Twister Storm Shelters, and Paint Rock Creation. So we'll be right back in just a second. welcome back to MK9F Dog Talk. Again, we're here with my buddy, Brody Pritchett. So Brody is actually going to be helping me train some dogs here in the next couple weeks and months and maybe years, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. Maybe.
That's always been a goal of ours, to run a business together, and maybe this can be the business we run together, is the canine world. So we have some cool stuff in the makings. We both started a search and rescue group. I'm actually the chief of the unit, and Brody is our sergeant of the unit. And so this is a nonprofit group, and we got quite a few members, maybe about 10 members. And like we want to do dive, we want to do a mounted unit, have just about anything that can fit the needs of a missing person or missing people, really.
Right.
And around here, you got the Walls of Jericho. That's your management area where a lot of hunters go and a lot of hikers go, and that's where a lot of missing people every other week are. So I mean, so what's your thoughts on the search and rescue group?
Oh man, I mean, yeah, it's still kind of fresh. It's still kind of new. I feel like, you know, what we have done and what we're trying to do is a really good thing. It's a way for us to kind of give back to the communities and surrounding communities, you know, where we were raised, and do something positive. And I know I always have. I believe you always have. You know, have felt like that's an important thing to do. Yeah. And it's really cool because we get to incorporate our knowledge with dogs. You know, and we're getting to learn new trades and tricks, and it's really fun. And it's a good thing to do at the end of the day. You know, it's more than us just going out there and having a good time. You know, we were both pretty much raised in the woods. You know, we've been in the woods for forever. You know, it's just it's what you do around here. But it's more than just having a good time. You know, it's really trying to help and do something good for, you know, those that can't really help themselves in those situations. So.
Yeah, I know we've been to a few searches already in the past year, and we've had some good outcomes with those searches. I got called to a place in DeKalb County for missing, was it an elderly guy?
Yeah, it was an elderly man, yes.
Yeah, and they had drones and all that sort of stuff, and I deployed my canine Ari, which I've had for 7 years, and she was on a track, and right when we were like working on the track towards the person, they called and said, hey, he's over here in this yard. And he was just, 100 yards away from us?
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go to the person because they already had an ambulance coming to him. And it was so cold. It was probably in the 20s.
Oh, it was freezing.
This guy, he didn't have no jacket on or nothing. He was, if we didn't find him within probably the next 30 minutes to an hour, he would have been dead.
Yeah.
I'm about guarantee that. Yeah. So we got there, the dog sniffed him, we praised him. Brody grabbed Ari. I was able to work on the guy a little bit, try to warm him up. Body heat is one of the quickest ways to warm somebody up. So there was about 3 of us. We just kind of gathered around him and hugged him and waited on the ambulance to get there. And, I mean, it was a good outcome. The guy had to go to the hospital just to get checked out. But as far as I know, he went home that night. Yeah. That was real good.
Yep.
And I'm sure we've done some other searches, like in Huntsville, didn't we?
Yep. Yeah, we done one.
And that lady was found, too, 3 days later. That was interesting
was a wild one.
Yeah. So they put a reward out for this lady. She was like, hey, this missing. So everybody started saying that they seen her. Like 10 miles down the road, 20 miles down the road. So crazy. It was crazy.
We was going all over the place.
Yeah. And like, we're not getting nothing.
Yeah.
We
police stopping traffic, you know, because people said they saw her, you know, over here. And we'd run over there and try, you know, and it's crazy.
Yeah. And that... I mean, we should have found that person the first night.
Yeah.
It was luckily she was still alive. If we wouldn't have found her within the next day, she would have been not alive.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't real cold, but I mean, it was raining. It was just nasty weather. That was a New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And so I was there New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and I think the day after New Year's. Mm-hmm. So it was, it was a search.
It's a rough one.
So I was out there in the woods on New Year's Eve. And once 12 o'clock hit for New Year's morning, we were out there searching. All of a sudden, I thought I was in the middle of a war because the fireworks were going so crazy. I was like, oh, no, we're getting shot at. You never know what kind of search that you're going to go to. And I thought I was in a war for sure. Yeah. But it was a good outcome. She's alive and well, and we were able to go home. But I want to thank our sponsors. So if it wasn't for our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do these podcasts and kind of give you all some tips and our history and just talk about dog stuff. So Gentle Loving Groom, they're in Scottsboro, Alabama. They do great grooming. And then you got Mr. Twister Storm Shelters. It's owned by great people as well. They have good products. Like once I build a house, I'm totally gonna get a Mr. Twister shelter.
Oh yeah, we have.
I mean, it's above ground. Yeah. They go in your bedrooms if you want them, or into your garage where most people get them.
Yeah, they got all kinds.
Yep, and Paint Rock Creation, that's owned by Hunter Lindsay. He's a great camera guy, video guy. He does all our videoing for our dog training show that we're working on. So shout out to all of them. And if you do want to become a sponsor for the show and get shout outs, reach out to me, Micah McCreary. You can send us an email at micah@mk9f.com, or you can call us here at the facility at 256-315-6656. So let's go back to talking about our dog training experience. So you helped me when you were young. We're still young, but when we were real young, babes. Yeah. And this is how crazy it was. So we couldn't afford bite suits. We couldn't afford sleeves. We had So I had a volunteer fire department give me an old turnout suit, which is a fire department suit that goes in the fires, if you didn't know that. But we took that, and that was used as a bite suit. And Brody was one of the guys that would actually get bit. And
that's one of the original, one of the OGs.
Go ahead and clap for you, man. Everybody give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Yeah, that was crazy, man. I look back at some of those things we did.
How did we not die?
I'm like, what was we thinking?
Because now when I get bit by these dogs, it hurts through the bite suit. And those are $1,500 suits,
yeah,
you know?
Man, we were just young and dumb, and we didn't care, you know, I guess. But I don't know, man. It's crazy. I look back on it sometimes like, man, what was I thinking? But I don't know. It made me tough, I guess.
Yeah. So Brody is very, very scared of dogs.
Terrified.
Every time I bring a bite dog out, he's either on top of my truck.
Yeah, man.
Or sitting inside the truck. Yeah. I'm like, Brody,
yeah.
The dog's not going to attack you until I tell it to.
No, just get it. I mean, yeah, no. Yeah, I have fear of getting bit. Okay, here's my whole thing on it. Here's my whole thing on it. So those dogs, I'm not scared that they're going to attack me because they're being mean, but like once they get into working mode, you don't know. Like I don't know. It's just the way my brain works, but like I feel like in my brain, as soon as I take that bot suit off, they're still locked in on me. Whether you say good guy or not, I know they're trained not to do that, and Micah does an excellent job at, training these dogs when to work and when not to, but it's just it's a mental block, and I don't know, I do it, sometimes it gives everybody else that's around entertainment, I guess, so.
I can actually hear you now. You actually got in your
mind. Oh, sorry.
Well, so he's scared of them.
Yeah, I can be. Yeah.
Beagles. You're scared of beagles.
I'm not scared of beagles.
No.
Bite dogs I'm not scared of dogs. I'm aware of the damage that a good bite dog can do.
Brody, you took bites off a turnout jacket that I could easily bite through myself.
No, here's a crazy story, I guess. So me and Micah, the first dog that he had ever trained to bite, like he said earlier, K9 Ari, his dog that he has now. That was the first dog that I reckon that's the first dog you ever trained to, learn to bite. And so where him and his wife, where they used to live, there was this big field out behind their house and woods, and we would do some training out there. And anyways, we was trying to shoot, Micah at the time was trying to get his business, actually a business. At the time, we were pretty much training his dog and, a few dogs here and there, but he was trying to make his business a legitimate business. So we were shooting a promotional video, and all I didn't even have, at that day, I didn't even have the jacket on or anything. I just had like a little burlap sleeve on my arm. And so Micah was probably 400 yards away, and he turned Ari, he turned her off on me. And his wife, Lauren, she was set up behind me with a camera, and she was videoing all this to make this video. And the dog, Ari, she came running, and I mean, it was awesome. She came running across this field, jumped this creek, and when she got to me, she saw Lauren you know.
Oh, yeah.
And she just jumped towards her like she was playing, and I just grabbed her, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, I think about that time a lot. You know, we didn't know, we were new to the game, and
She could have tore my wife
yeah,
up.
she could have ripped her face off, man. But she didn't, thankfully. You
Yeah.
know, I had enough sense to grab her and get her down, and she didn't. She wasn't meaning any harm by it. You know, dogs at the end of the day, they're dogs.
Yeah.
And you know, but
And that's the thing about the dogs being trained for bite work. It's a game to them. So you got to keep it fun. If you have a dog that's not toy driven, food driven, you cannot work it hardly.
Right,
It's so hard, and
yeah.
and it causes stress if they don't want to do it. So like Ari, she is gun ho. She wants to work. She wants to
Right,
please
yeah,
me.
100%.
You know, she likes that tug. So that's what it boils down to with the working dog is they want to work.
Right.
And if they don't if they don't have a drive,
Yeah.
find another dog.
No, yeah, absolutely. But that's one thing
Take
I
her
give.
around the barn. No, I'm just kidding.
That's one thing I give, you know, Micah major props about is, you know, training the dogs that he trains is training them on the differences between, you know, when they're working and when they're playing, you know, and they got to play first, you know, and then you teach them to work, you know, but he
Yep.
does a really good job at separating their lives, and not everybody can do that.
So I've been to a lot of canine schools in the past 10 years, and every time I go, there's always that one person that has a dog where you can't even walk by without it wanting to just tear your face
Right,
off. I'm
yeah.
like, come on now. When I teach my dogs for bite or criminal apprehension, I do a switch in them. I want them to be a dog after you get done working with them, you know?
Right.
I want you to be able to say, good guy, and that person can pet the dog, you know? I mean, some people don't like you petting their dog, but that's okay. But you should be able to walk that dog. Let's say if you have a bite on a job, like if it's a police officer and their dog bites a person, you should be able to take that dog into a courthouse, show that judge, hey, my dog has a switch. It's not
Right.
just going to bite a random person without me
100%.
telling it to.
Yeah.
So that's how I roll. That's something,
Yeah.
and that's how I train.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
But I see these people.
Yeah, not
Good
everybody does
Lord.
it that way, and it's like get a hold of your dog.
Lawsuit.
Yeah, really. Yeah, 100%. It's I don't know.
Well, thank you again, Brody, so much for coming out on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, again, we want to thank all of our sponsors. We want to thank our listeners for listening to us, and we got some special guests coming up here real soon. So stay tuned for some more episodes, and we'll see you next time on MK9F Dog Talk.